Sarah Lewis, lovely to see you here in Cannes from ShowHeroes. Loads to talk about, but I really want to start with something pretty exciting that happened last week. You just launched retail ads for CTV. What inspired this format, and how do you see that bridging the gap between digital and physical, real-life retail?
Yeah, so I think one of the reasons this came about was because there's obviously a huge drive behind retail media. There's also CTV, and the convergence of the two, I think, is a huge opportunity. We're also seeing a lot of retail clients who really want to step into the CTV space. It's a really highly engaged platform. We know from our research and a lot of others' research that people are really using CTV as a way to find brands. They know that it has a big influence on their shopping habits. So it's really important for retail clients, but getting into that space can not always be the easiest, especially because of things like creative. It has to be fit for the big TV screen. There's an opportunity to tell a story, all of these things. So our format first works with retail clients to help them take whatever assets they have, whether that's vertical video for social, whether that is different parts of display media or different ad formats, and we also take our content and make it into an ad that works for the CTV screen. That's kind of the first part, and then the second part is including a dynamic QR code that when the user scans it takes them through to their local store page rather than the generic one. So it's automatic based on the user's location. So it's a really nice way of actually linking the physical location to the ad that they've seen, driving them through into that kind of purchase funnel, and getting them to know where their nearest physical store is. It works for retail, but it can also work as well for things like car brands, cinemas, anyone that wants to get someone to a physical location.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really seen something like this before, this like physical and digital. I mean, when you say like the retail brands, we all know who they are. We know who we shop with. Who are they?
Oh, well, I mean, from huge, obviously the big brands, the FMCG brands, to the clothing brands, anything where you're actually going and physically buying something. And I think there's, for certain purchases, the user wants to do that in person. Of course, online clothing is huge and it helps drive you to the website as well. But something like a car brand or something like, a big purchase, people want to do in person, and it kind of piques their interest by being able to, instantly go through to their local store page. It's a bit of personalization as well as driving them into that funnel to get them to the place.
I know exactly what you mean. For me, it's shoes.
Yeah, well,
I won't buy them unless I can go and try them on first.
It's so true.
Same for a lot of people.
You don't want a bad pair of shoes, do you?
No, exactly. So how does this approach to sort of premium editorial content in the retail space combine with the data-driven targeting to differentiate the solution in the CTV space for you guys?
Yeah, I think anything where we can enhance the format has a big impact. So we've done a lot of research on user behavior in CTV, and we found it's a very high attention screen. It's very engaging. People are taking action as well after seeing the CTV ads. So whether that's searching for the website, whether that's purchasing actively, whether that is just having a look at the brand, online, searching for them, there's a lot of action taken. So what we want to do is enhance that format so it's the easiest and kind of smoothest path to purchase possible. So whether that's from a QR code, whether that's using personalization in the audio or the QR code, whether that's voice commands, so the user can instantly say, "Hey, add to basket, Alexa." So there's lots of ways.
So the data's already showing you that kind of reaction and response, and you mentioned enhancing. So is this a kind of ongoing? It will be continually developed onwards from now?
Definitely. Like the first stage was adding in a standard QR code, and that obviously has quite a big effect. I think we're also much more used to QR codes in our daily lives now. So, my boarding pass to get here was a QR code, scan the menu, so it's much more inherent in our behavior. That was kind of the start, the way of adding that next step and interactivity. But we've developed a lot more. We do things like custom animated QR codes. So the QR code can be a load of sesame seeds thrown on the screen, and that's a scannable QR code. It can be really anything, and it's really nice to be able to capture that engagement. But then also things like voice commands. We can personalize the audio based on the user's location. So there's loads of different ways we can enhance it, and that's an ongoing development, and I think as users get more used to seeing CTV ads and interacting in some way, those enhancements are just going to continue.
So, I was going to ask, what are you going to be talking about mostly this week here? But I'm guessing retail ads for CTV might be one of them.
That's definitely one of them. I think in enhancing CTV in general, really having a focus on the creative. I think it's very easy to forget how important the creative is, and in CTV even more so, because we're used to TV. We're used to storytelling. We've got a slightly longer ad that you can run on CTV as well. Mobile, you want 6 seconds, but we know from our research the top ad length was 30 seconds. So you've got a bit more time and scope to do some really interesting things. Not much, I know it's still short, but...
I was going to say, can you have a word with some of the newspapers? Because a 30-second ad to watch a 10-second clip is never going to work for me.
That's definitely not that doesn't work. No, I think the best thing is when you're watching long-form content. And the good thing about CTV is, majority of the publishers have capped the ad breaks. It's a focus on high-quality ad experiences. So, 30-second ads, you've got the time to actually tell a little story. You've got highly attentive users. The users we found, we did a study with eye tracking glasses and electrodermal response tracking. Yeah, I know, it was a weird one, but it was cool. But we found that out of all of the platforms, comparing to linear TV even, CTV came out on top for the amount of attention people paid and the amount of engagement people had as well. So there's an opportunity there. We need to utilise it. We need to capitalise on grabbing that user's attention and actually taking them into the kind of next step of the purchase cycle.
So that's the sort of thing you're going to be talking about, but there's a lot of other themes here. We've got things like AI, we've got sustainability, diversity, all this kind of stuff. It's only Monday, but what sort of things are you going to be looking out for yourself this week?
Yeah, of course AI is huge at the moment. I'm really excited about how it's actually enabling us to do these things. So, content creation, we can never get rid of the human element because that's where the creativity comes from, but being able to speed up these processes like storyboarding, captions, things like that is really exciting. And being able to just use that to actually make all of these transitions, like personalization in the audio, like I mentioned, that's all done with AI, and we're able to actually change the audio and it sound exactly the same, but say your local store instead. So it's really clever, and it's something that we wouldn't have been able to do before because it would have been a really long manual process, and it would have been a robotic voice. Now it's come such a long way that it is so streamlined, so much easier to really enhance these things with AI. So that's definitely one for me. I'd also say measurement is a big one. We're seeing even more developments in the CTV space when it comes to measurement. It's always been a little bit of a challenge, being a slightly different platform, no cookies, things like that, when we were used to the digital side, and CTV really sits in the middle of TV and digital. But there's a lot of developments in that space. So I think what's kind of emerging is like a gold standard of attention measurement plus brand uplift, and that gives you a good kind of baseline of whether your ad was, people were attentive to your ad, and then how that attention actually transferred into brand uplift. So I think that's one that I'm really interested in hearing and everyone's thoughts on and developments in as well.